Our city, our county, our state is in a crisis because of COVID-19 virus. We have seen the devastation of family due to the loss of life. As a pastor who has stood with family members in times of loss, my heart and my prayers go out to those. This is a profoundly serious matter. This crisis has caused the government to go to extraordinary means to try and protect the public. The original projections by the government were frightening. At the beginning of this pandemic, our own governor projected 56% of the population of California would be infected with the virus over an 8-week period. Thankfully, many of their projections were wrong. Thank God we are seeing the number of cases resulting in death drastically decreasing. But there is no way that we can deny the other negative effects that this virus has had on our society. Because of the shelter-in-place quarantine, the virus has caused great and long-lasting damage. Economically, people are out of work. Businesses are closed. Lines for food are growing. For the last several weeks, Cornerstone Community Care has provided food to thousands of families in food distributions in downtown Fresno, at the Fresno Fairgrounds, and surrounding hard-hit rural communities like Madera, Huron, Orange Cove, and this week we'll be in Reedley. Not only the economic damage, but it has caused great emotional damage to the public. People are consumed with fear and doubt and despair. There is the real danger of increased child abuse cases that are not being reported. There is the rise in domestic violence because families are confined at home. And tragically, the rise in the number of people who are taking their own life. COVID-19 is real, and something must be done. I understand that. But there is a saying that the cure must not be more deadly than the disease. As a pastor, I'm concerned about my city and about my flock. Now more than ever, the people of our city need our churches to be open. I'm grateful to the mayor and to the governor for taking steps to begin opening businesses in our community. There are employers and employees that are on the verge of losing everything if they do not begin to reopen the economy. But there is another victim of this virus that concerns me. It's our religious freedom. There should be no quarantine on religious freedom. The right to freely worship is ingrained in America's founding. As stated in the U.S. Constitution, it is a pillar of America's God-given rights. United States Attorney General William Barr has stated, government may not impose special restrictions on religious activities that do not also apply to similar non-religious activities. Attorney General Barr went on to say, even in times of emergency, federal law prohibits religious discrimination. All we as churches want is to be treated fairly. Why is it that Walmart can remain open for shoppers as long as they practice social distancing, but churches must go online? How is it constitutionally proper to say that liquor stores, marijuana dispensaries, big box stores, even arts and crafts outlets can remain open for business and have their parking lots full and hundreds of people gather under their roof under social distancing guidelines, but churches who can abide by the same guidelines cannot open their doors? Churches have the First Amendment. Walmart does not. The idea of government picking which set of people can protect themselves versus which cannot, in other words, shoppers can and churchgoers can't, is a new level of overreach. When the state of Virginia threatened a pastor with jail for allowing people to sit inside a church on Palm Sunday practicing social distancing, the United States Department of Justice stepped in and wrote a statement of interest and filed it on behalf of the church. The Department of Justice said, quote, permitting similar opportunities for in-person gatherings of more than 10 individuals, while at the same time prohibiting churches from gathering in groups of more than 10, even with social distancing measures and other precautions, has interfered with the church's free exercise of religion. The United States Department of Justice went on to say, quote, the Commonwealth of Virginia has offered no good reason for refusing to trust congregants who promise to use care in worship in the same way that they trust accountants, lawyers, or other workers to do the same. We agree with the Department of Justice. Businesses have been put into categories: essential, non-essential, and now in this city, authorized. I believe the spiritual services of churches are absolutely essential to the health and the welfare of the people of our city. The indefinite nature of the restrictions on church meetings is a violation of the very principle that this country was founded upon. Our founding fathers did not intend to allow a single individual to establish law that permits the infringement upon the individual liberties recognized in the Constitution. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibits government actors from enforcing any law that prohibits the free exercise of religion. Fundamental to the free exercise of religion is the right to gather and worship. To that end, we have joined with the attorneys for Advocates for Faith and Freedom and the National Center for Law and Public Policy and other pastors in sending a letter to Governor Newsom and the Director of the California Department of Public Health. In that letter, we state that we are thankful for the significant efforts the governor has made to protect the health and safety of the residents of California. His efforts are appreciated, and we believe that he has the best interest of California residents in mind when he implemented the current COVID-19 restrictions. However, we believe that he overlooked the essential and critical nature of the services provided by churches throughout California. The mandated closure of churches is having a significant and detrimental secondary effect on the citizens of California. We thank the governor for working tirelessly in his effort to protect the public's health, safety, and welfare during this pandemic. We fully support reasonable measures to help flatten the curve. As pastors, we take our responsibility seriously. The interest in public safety, however, must be balanced, narrowly tailored to accommodate the opportunity for the public to exercise their religious freedom. We believe church services to be as essential as any grocery store or hardware store. We believe that the governor is attempting to act in the best interest of the state, but the restrictions have gone too far and for too long. Therefore, in order to restore the proper balance between public safety and individual liberties, Cornerstone Church will begin holding in-person church services beginning Sunday, May the 31st. All services will be held in compliance with CDC guidelines for social distancing as required by essential businesses. Again, we do not want special treatment, we just want equal treatment. If hundreds of people can gather inside a big box store to buy items to improve their homes, why can they not gather in a church building at a time when things are most desperate to receive the items necessary to improve their spiritual and emotional health? If a home improvement store can practice social distancing, do you not think that a church can do the same? The people who come to my church are not my customers. They are people that I have known for over a quarter of a century. They are the people that I have married their children, and they are the people that I have buried their family members. I have sat with them in the hospital waiting for the doctor to come in to give a good report or a bad report. I've laughed with them through the joyous occasions, and I've cried with them through the tragedies of life. If anyone cares for the people who walk through these doors, I do. I want them safe. I want them healthy. I have dedicated my life to serving them. But as important as their physical health is, so is their spiritual health. To quote a book that I often quote, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? Now, you may not agree with my theology, but the Constitution of this great country guarantees me the right to practice it. We believe the spiritual and emotional health of our citizens are in jeopardy and that the church doors are not open, and we've got to get them open. We believe that churches are an essential part of our community. To say that a church is non-essential strikes at the heart of our national motto, which is engraved on the walls of Congress, on the walls of our own city council chambers, "In God we trust." It is an attack on the very Constitution that our elected officials have sworn to protect. To think that a church must be authorized to open its doors reminds me more of communist China than it does of the United States. These doors, the doors of our churches across our city and our state, should be, need to be, and must be opened. To paraphrase a former governor of California that went on to become the President of the United States, Governor Newsom, open up these doors. So here's our plan. The mayor of Fresno has extended the shelter-in-place ruling until the 31st of this month. The 31st is an important date on the church calendar. It's Pentecost Sunday, the day that is recognized as the birth of the New Testament church. I can't think of a better way to celebrate the day that the church was birthed than with the reopening of churches in California. And that's why we've chosen that date. On Pentecost Sunday, May the 31st, Cornerstone Church will open its doors to the public to conduct our Sunday worship experience under the following CDC guidelines. On that day, we will practice strict social distancing. Seating in our theater will be designated with 6-foot separation between family units. Masks and gloves will be available. Hand sanitizer will be available to all entries. Teams will be designated to disinfect high traffic areas. People will not be allowed to gather in groups to socialize. In accordance with CDC guidelines, we ask that all vulnerable people, including the elderly and people with underlying health conditions, not attend these public services for their safety's sake. We ask that those 65 years of age or older do not attend because of the recommendations of the CDC. These are stricter guidelines than someone going to shop in a big box store where hundreds are gathering every day. There will be no child care or children's classes offered at the beginning. We will continue the online streaming of our services to accommodate those who cannot attend. We pray soon we'll be able to remove these restrictions. As you are aware, the restrictions are evolving almost weekly. The governor this week will issue new guidelines. We believe that church services are essential services, and we also believe that they are constitutionally protected. Our ultimate desire is the complete health of the individual, body, mind, and spirit. It is time to open these doors.